None of our kids live here anymore. It's that simple. None of our kids live here anymore. There's nothing, there are no opportunities left for them. They've all gone. Our youngest just left this year. And ironically, he went to school here. He went to college here. And now he's gone too.
What is your background? I mean, what is your professional background?
I've worked here in factories. I worked at Hobart's in the 70s. I built boats back in the 70s for companies that aren't here anymore. Went out to Calgary. I left Hobart's, went out to Calgary as a technician on the road from things I learned at Hobart's here in town. I've been an entrepreneur. We've started 2 businesses up here in town from scratch. Went to college in the 90s. I'm a programmer analyst. Don't want to leave Owen Sound. We moved back here. We came back here because it's a great place for kids and to raise kids and a great place to live. And the ironical part is the kids are all gone. I'm a programmer analyst. Now I'm detailing cars. And I'm one of the lucky ones. I've got a great boss. And it's steady work. No layoffs. I'm one of the lucky ones. Industry. We need industry. We can't be a town of retail selling to retail. An economy will collapse on itself. You need some big anchors. And with the reshoring going on right now, companies like Apple, GE, Ford, General, even Google, they're building a phone in North America now. That's unheard of in small electronics. They're coming back because the labor costs in China, they're rising. Things are starting to balance out. The fuel costs for transporting things back and forth, it's getting prohibitive since 2008, that crash we had, if you want to call it a crash. Things have just, the fuel prices, transportation costs have skyrocketed. It's evening out. The reshoring, it's starting to happen now. And the companies that haven't done it yet are starting to do it. Steve Jobs told Barack Obama said, Steve, all these jobs that you sent over to China. And Steve Jobs said, yep, and they're not coming back. Well, they are coming back. Not all of them, but it's a start. They're coming back. And we should get in on this. We're killing our industry here. We're selling land like RCA. We're selling RCA, and it's going to be rezoned residential. Now, if you were looking at relocating for an industry, that's a good solid building, and it's not that old. It's not a decrepit, run-down building. It would cost 20 times more to build a new one than it would to take that building over. The city council, they're short-sighted. They're looking at short-term. We get a few townhouses here, you know, a few more taxpayers moving in, hopefully. Where do we go from there? We're telling everybody in town and everybody outside of town, we don't want industry here. We've got to do things differently. The world's changed. We've got to do everything differently. My main criticism would be the majority of them on council saying we can't have industry here because we don't have a 4-lane highway and we don't have train tracks here anymore and our port needs dredged, and that's sending the wrong message. Instead of saying we can't do this, let's find out how we can do this. And I've made proposals for that. Proposals that are out there, and I figured I'd get a backlash by 50% of the population, but hardly anybody's talking about it. Maybe they'll see this and they'll hear what I'm having to say. But
so what are a couple of those proposals that you think are key?
Here we go. The technology's there. The science is there. Tap the methane from the dump 2 blocks from our house here. The Keel Valley landfill in Toronto, they tap the methane from there. They get enough electricity to power 22,000 homes. And it's a lot better for the environment to tap this methane and burn it. And it gives off about as much CO2 as a natural gas plant. And that's better for the environment by tapping this methane than letting it get into the water table and letting it just vent into the atmosphere without being burned. I forget the numbers. It's about 10 or 20 times better for the environment, for the air, to do this. And the dump, our garbage, plasmification. It's not burning it, it's heating it to 27,000 degrees. It's not stinky, it's not smoky. And this is something that we can make money on. We can produce electricity from it. You produce electricity, so we all get cheaper electricity. Everybody in town and all the industries in town and the industries that might think about moving here if they see what we're doing. We're going to be ahead of the curve. We're not going to wait for somebody to come. We're going to create the environment for them to say, hey, can we please come? I think that's a whole lot better than saying we can't have industry here because. That's a reason why. And not only that, we'll have other communities who are going to say, like Toronto, $270 million just to buy the land for a landfill down by London. It's old technology to bury garbage. It's bad for the environment. It's very, very expensive and getting more expensive all the time. So we make money from other communities saying, please take my garbage and we will pay you. We plasmify it, and then we make money producing electricity from it. And then what you're left with is an aggregate which we can sell that they can use to put in our roads.
We need to go.
Everybody's electioneering. Let's get the harbor dredged. Okay, we've been talking about this for a long time. Right now, it's a federal issue. It's not a municipal issue. So if people are talking about it right now, it's something they have no control over right now, but it might get them some votes. We shouldn't be building any more office buildings. We shouldn't be building anything else on the harbor if it doesn't have anything to do with it being a port. If we're putting buildings there, medical buildings and that, I don't know why we're doing that there. They can go anywhere else. It's not like we have a shortage of land. It's too late. They're already done. They're there. But it should be a working port. This is Canada's little Liverpool in the 1800s. And it's still because it's such a great natural harbor. Let's use it as one. We have access to 100 million people around the Great Lakes. The Great Lakes is the greatest, it's the best shipping lanes in the world. There's nothing like it. And shipping is cheaper than any other method of transportation. People cry about no rail service here. Well, everything now is shipped by, big things are, they go by ship and they go by truck. And they go by truck because they want it there in a hurry. We can't wait for the federal government to dredge our harbor. Let's get something going in town. Let's have industry coming back so the federal government takes notice and goes, gee, I guess they need that harbor dredged. Right now they're going, what's the point? If we're blocking the harbor off and we're going to build more office buildings on the harbor, I don't know why they're doing that in the first place. It's killing shipping. If they're selling industrial lands like RCA, it's killing industry. I don't understand why they're doing this. I really don't. Anybody I've talked to, they have their theories, and I'm not going to go into that right now. I don't know why they're doing this. The harbor should be used for shipping. It shouldn't be for putting another office building or another condo. There's a lot of room for condos elsewhere. Because I think we should be telling City Hall what we want them to do instead of them teaching us their ways and teaching us what they want us to do. It's that simple. People, if you spend 4 years on council, it seems people are afraid to say what they want to say or to say what they should do or we should do because they know it'll cost them votes from this group of people or that group of people or this group of people. It's human nature. If you work at City Hall as a councillor, you're working with all those people in City Hall. You become friends. You'll go to the coffee shop together. You're not going to say, we've got to look at everything we do and start doing things differently. We've got to take every department and tear it apart, tear it down to its little bits and pieces and go, what can we change? What can we do differently? That's more efficient, that benefits the town better, and saves us money. These are all key things we should do. Right now, City Hall, the costs are rising so dramatically, and nobody has a handle on it. I don't know if it's because they don't want to, or if they're afraid to, or if they don't know how. It's just that if you look at the budget, and I've been looking at the budget and it's pretty dry reading, but almost every department, the costs have risen dramatically. Why? Nobody can say why. It's not like we have so many people in industry flocking here. I mean, people driving up here, the few people that are driving up here to retire, what are they seeing when they're driving up? They're looking in the windows of the cars that are driving south down Highway 6 and 10 and going, where are all those young people going? So I don't know why City Hall is getting more expensive. I'm sorry, I got way off track there.
No.
Running for council first, I would be learning to do things the way council has been doing things. And I think we should be telling council we should be doing things differently.